Welcome back everyone. In this video we're gonna look at orchestration and how you can take a simple little piano sketch and turn it into a full orchestral piece. And for this video I want to look at some really practical and fairly simple ways that you can orchestrate your music. And something that a lot of people are wondering about when they start getting to the orchestration stage, even like after they've been creating their melodies, their harmonies, maybe they even have the full sketch for the structure of the track. Their questions are, which notes do I put where? Like which voices and stuff do I give to this and that instrument? Especially when it comes to things like harmony. So this is going to be some really practical steps that you can use, and it does not require that you read or write music. It does not require any in-depth theoretical knowledge. It's just some really practical steps that you can take. So to begin, we're going to look at this melody here. And this melody is the main theme from the track I'm creating in this course. So you should be pretty familiar with this theme for now. So let's just listen to it first. And so on. You know this melody fairly well now. So we're gonna do like a quick harmony chord progression thing under here and make it into like a little piano sketch, and then we're gonna take this and make it into a full orchestration. So I'm gonna start basically pretty much from scratch here and take it like stepwise so you can follow every part of the process. So the chord progression that I'm using for this melody goes like this. And so on. But for those who are pretty much starting out, I want to do it really simple. So if you're going to record this, when we're going to make this little piano sketch, you can start by just using the chords in root position, which is just the main standard position of all chords. So in my case, it would be pretty much like this. And so on. So that's exactly what I've been doing here. We can listen to it. But the thing when you use all the chords in root position, if you transfer that over to strings, it ends up sounding pretty digital and not too realistic. Listen to this. It sounds pretty much like what you do. It sounds like you're just playing chords on a keyboard with a string patch. While if you voice the chords a bit better, more like this, it sounds much more realistic already. And so on. So the first step when you have just inputted your chords in root position, nothing fancy, the first step is going to be then to turn it into a better chord voicing. And this is something we'll be going through in the course, so I'm not going to take every detail here. But a quick example is going from to so every chord and every voice in the chord is going the shortest way to the next chord. So the result for this chord progression then is something more like this. And so on. And don't worry too much about every single detail. You can always change things later, but in general, try to avoid only the standard root position of all your chords. Try to make it move a little bit more independent. So when you have done that, you have a really good starting point for your orchestration. Because when you look at it, if you actually let me just give you an overview over what exactly we're going to do here. I'm first going to show you how to make this into a simple string orchestration, like with only strings. And then we're going to take that and expand it, add in some horns, some more rhythmic activity. And then we're going to make like a bigger orchestration with some percussion, with some counter melodies, and more instruments. And all of this is just going to come from this information, more or less. So we have this now, which is the basic foundation. And to make the first orchestration, for example, for only strings, we basically have all the information we need right here. For example, the melody, we could give it to the first violins, and then we could have the cellos and basses in octaves, for example, cover all the bass notes here, before we voice this for violas and second violins, for example. And then we have 5 voices. And all this we could just voice out individually. So this would be the second violin voice going like this. This would be the viola one. This would be the bass line. And then, since we have been doing the chord voicing already, this is basically everything we need to do, and it will sound pretty alright. And that's actually what I've been doing right here, which I want to show you here. I've been doing exactly the same chord voicing as you saw in the piano, pretty much. At least it's 95% the same, I think. And let me just play it for you so you can hear what it sounds like. Yeah, and so on. So even though this is not like a perfect mock-up, because it's done really quick, you get the idea. So my point is that if you do some good work early on with your chord voicing, just a simple piano sketch, this does not really have to take a lot of time. And you don't really have to overthink it too much, because you can always change things later when you hear how it's going to sound with the strings. But when you've been doing this, you have a really good foundation to create further orchestrations, because you can just take each note and give it to a different voice in the strings. So you have everything laid out for you here. Next, we have some more elements in my track, and one of them is a counter melody, which we're going to get back to really soon, but I just want to show you the different elements here that we're going to work with. So this is the counter melody. And when you play it together with everything else, the thing is, the counter melody is in the range of this. So if we were using these harmonies, it would clash like with everything else that's going on here. But the thing is, the counter melody is kind of outlining the harmonies in the chords together with the bass and the melody. So as long as we have the bass line, the counter melody, which is moving in this range and outlining all these things that make up the harmony, as long as we have that, the melody and the bass, we basically have all the harmonic content we need to recognize which chords it is. So that's like another variation of this that we're going to use when we want to have a melody, a counter melody, and then the harmony. Because together, you see they make up the entire spectrum here. Let's just listen to this piano sketch. So they will basically have more or less all the harmonic information we need. So right now we have 2 different variations here of 2 piano sketches, one with like the full harmonies with a melody, and one with only the bass, the counter melody, and the melody. And both of these we're going to turn into full orchestrations, more or less. And the thing here, it's the same principle. We can take these bass lines and give it to different instruments. For example, we could take this one, like the melody again, and give it to violins, maybe both violins in octaves or in unison. We could give then the bass line to maybe the cellos and the double basses, and then give the counter melody to the violas. And we would have a full orchestration again. All the voices, every single note for every single instrument already laid out for us, which is incredibly helpful. So there's also one more element, and this is also taken from like the principles of Anshe, my friend, which we've been going through in the course, the melody, harmony, rhythm, and texture approach to orchestration. It's really similar to that kind of thing, and also the usage of the orchestration form. Because when you have this, for example, these two, and you have an orchestration form with the structure of your track, and you have like laid out your ideas for which instrument you want to play the counter melody, the melody, and the harmony in different parts of your track, you can literally just almost copy this and give it to that instrument and just put it together like a puzzle. But we also have like a rhythmical element to our composition. You don't have to, but in my case, I have been using that. And to me, it is like the simplest thing. It is just, I'm just going to take a random instrument here. Let's take the hats. So my rhythm is basically just repeating triplets. So that's the rhythmic element. We're going to get back to it pretty soon. I just wanted to let you know all the elements we are working with in the orchestrations here. So now we've been looking at the piano sketches. It's time to go to step number 3. So let me just recap quickly what we've been doing so far. First, we just took the melody. We added the chords without any voicing first. And then, then we take the chords and voice them a bit better. And you can just transfer that into strings. And I've also been creating an alternative one with my counter melody, which has no harmony. It's only like a bass, counter melody, and melody. Now we're going to take this information and we're going to start creating orchestrations with it. So I've already been showing you like the only string one. Sounds like this. What I did next was taking the rhythmic element, which is just the triplets, just continuous triplets going on, and I gave them this kind of harmonic pattern, which is outlining the harmony. So it sounds like this. So together with the basses, for example, it would sound like this. So then we have like a combination of the harmony and the rhythm. So in addition to that, we don't need any other harmony, because this is outlining the entire harmony, and we have the basses here. So we also have the melody. And then for fun, because as I told you earlier, the range of the counter melody and these chords, the harmonies, you see they are overlapping exactly. So if I would have these chords in the strings and try to have another string instrument play the counter melody as well, it would clash together and we would not have any separation. And separation is something I'm talking about a lot in the course, because it's super important. So if you've been reading up on my tips there, you will know that separation can be created through rhythm, tone color, range, and articulation. And the thing here is that I decided, after I created a more rhythmical harmonic texture, combining the rhythmical and the harmony elements, I saw that there's actually space to create the counter melody here if I create separation, even though it's the exact same range. Because this is a staccato articulation with really high rhythm. So I did the counter melody, I put it in horns, in legato, which gives it a different tone color and also different rhythm, because this is like slower notes and this is quick notes, so they will not blend together. Actually, I can actually try to play them isolated together